of September, which is a great song. I don't know what's the
You
name of that
remember?
song? On the 28th of September. Anyway, it's the 23rd, not the 21st. So again, thanks for being here. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Pro Tem John Holmes. The Texas Pledge will be led by Public Works Director Scott Hottie, and then Stephanie O'Banion will give our invocation. Please rise.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God.
Join me in prayer. Father, we just come to you this evening and praising your name. Father, we thank you for this community that you've allowed us to live and work and raise families in. Father, I thank you for the weather that you've blessed us with, and we are certainly looking forward to a little cooler weather later this week. Father, I pray for this evening. I pray for all that are here and not here, and that you would just our deliberations and that they would glorify you. Father, I ask a special blessing on our City of Belton employees and ask that you continue to protect them and guide them and protect their families. And again, Father, I thank you for the wonderful community that we are able to live in, and just pray that you would guide us and direct us all things by you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, we will officially call the meeting to order. We'll move on into public comments. If anyone wishes to address the council on any item that's a non-agenda item, they may do so at this time. I have a handful of people that have signed up for different agenda items. 13 and 14 look like the more popular ones. So I will call you. If you signed up for those, I will call you at that time. I've got your names. It doesn't mean I will pronounce them correctly, but I will attempt to. I do have one signed for public comments, not on an agenda item. Again, if I don't call your name and you wish to, you can do so after Wayne Cooley with Belton PD would like to say something. Floor is yours, Wayne.
Sorry?
The floor is yours. Name and address for the record.
Wayne Cooley, I work for the Belton PD, so 711 East 2nd Avenue.
Thank you.
Work.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good afternoon. As stated, my name is Wayne Cooley. I'm the school resource sergeant for the Belton Police Department. I'm also the National Night Out coordinator and have been for some time now. Most of you have seen me before. I'm here today to formally extend our invitation to each of you and all of our Belton citizens to attend National Night Out this year. If you're not familiar with it, National Night Out is an annual community building campaign that promotes police and community partnerships through neighborhood camaraderie. And this is accomplished with citizen-hosted neighborhood block parties. A list of those parties is placed in front of each of you. This year's event is on October 7th, and the parties start at either 5:30 or 6. Most of them will accept you at 5:30. You also have this year's N&O t-shirt there with you as well. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to the Belton Police Department. You can contact me, and you can also watch the Belton Police Department Facebook page for additional information. The list of parties is going to be published there starting this evening.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Looking forward to it. All right. Does anyone else wish to make public comments? There being none, we'll go to 3. Some proclamations. The first one is a Hunger Action Month. Apologies for just now opening this up. We'll have to sign it. Let's see. Hunger Action Month. Here it is. I've already signed it. How about that? So I'm going, is someone accepting this?
Supposed to be Beth Corbett of Central Texas Food Bank.
Okay. Well,
You want to just read it into the record?
I will summarize it for the record. I will not read every word. If you have ever heard of a proclamation, you'll appreciate what I'm about to do. So whereas Hunger Action Month held each September is a statewide campaign to raise awareness and inspire action to help end hunger in America and in our local communities. And whereas the food insecurity in Texas has increased from 16.4% to 17.6% since last year. demonstrating the urgent and growing need for resources, compassion, and community action. And whereas the City of Belton supports efforts to alleviate hunger and encourages all residents to donate food, volunteer, advocate, and raise awareness to help ensure that no one in our community goes without the nourishment they need to thrive. Now, therefore, I, David Lee, Mayor of the City of Belton, hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 as Hunger Action Month. I cut that by 70%. So
Well done, Mayor.
there we go. Done. The next one is another proclamation. I will read the proclamation and then hand off to Ms. To make some comments. So this is for Manufacturing Day. I'll read it. I've signed several of these throughout. So whereas National Manufacturing Day is a nationwide initiative observed on the first Friday of October to celebrate modern manufacturing and inspire the next generation of manufacturers. And whereas in 2025, National Manufacturing Day falls on Friday, October 3rd, 2025. And whereas manufacturing fuels innovation, generates employment, and strengthens the United States economy in communities like Belton, and whereas local industries in Belton contribute significantly to our region's economic well-being and technological advancement, and whereas it is essential to showcase advanced manufacturing processes, automation, skilled careers, and STEM education to students, educators, parents, and civic leaders in our community, and engaging local manufacturers, schools, and civic organizations in tours, demonstrations, and career-focused events will foster awareness, pride, and future talent. Now, therefore, I, David Lee, Mayor of the City of Belton, do hereby proclaim October 2025 as Manufacturing Day in the City of Belton and encourage all residents, educators, manufacturers, and organizations to recognize and honor the essential role of manufacturing in our community and nation. So there's the proclamation. Go ahead, Cynthia. And as you walk, I say this has a near and dear to my heart. And in manufacturing and advanced manufacturing, my whole career followed my father in those. He was assembly lines and all that stuff from the 60s all the way till today. So, Ms. Cynthia.
Mayor, and you will also be participating in our Manufacturing Day festivities in a couple of weeks, I understand. Thank you for the proclamation declaring October 3rd as Manufacturing Day. And on behalf of the BDC, I would like to thank the mayor and the council for your ongoing support of manufacturing in Belton and our efforts in recruiting and retaining our manufacturing operations. And so this is a national initiative, and we've been participating in Belton since 2019, and it's been in partnership with Belton ISD every year. So each year we have new partners and new companies that participate. And so we're excited today to introduce you to our companies. Manufacturing Day is a national initiative to showcase modern manufacturing careers and technologies and to highlight the benefits of manufacturing in your community. Our celebration, well, we celebrate all along, you know that. But in the month of October, Warren Ketteman, our Director of Industry Development, has lined up a few events, and Catherine Muchler, as you know, with our EDC team, makes us look good in everything we do, including this ad that will run in the Belton Journal showcasing our manufacturers. So the companies in the white area, those are the products are made in Belton. And so we look forward to showcasing them this month. In addition to running an ad and our social media posts that we'll make throughout the month, we are partnering with Belton ISD, Temple College, UMHB, well, everyone in blue, Temple College, UMHB, the City of Belton, CGI, and the Belton Chamber to host about 150 students from Belton ISD. This is like Belton and Belton High School. They will tour a number of facilities, including the City of Belton. They will tour Stratasys, True, Beltec, CGI, and ECS will also be involved. And so 50 students will tour about 2 facilities, and then they will break up, and about 100 students will return here to the Harris Community Center, where we will have presentations for the students and interactive activities provided by Temple College, UMHB, and ECS. And so we look forward to showcasing the occupations And in addition to this day-long celebration with BISD, the BEDC also provides snow cones to our manufacturing operations. It's a nice way to celebrate our employees, say thank you for what they do, and to get to know our manufacturers as well. And so at this time, I'd like to introduce the companies that are here. And if we could have a Kodak moment with the
Yep.
mayor and the proclamation, that would be nice. Also, I forgot to say that we have a few goodies for you. This will be provided to our BISD students, but Catherine will pass them out. We have some safety goggles that we'll provide our students for the tours, and then stickers, because those are really cool, just saying made in Belton. So we'll get that to you, but right now I see True is here. So if as I call your company, if you could come up, we have True, we have Anchor Bay, which you know as H Industries. Beltec is here, and also Glass Expanse, our newest manufacturer to Belton. Temple College is with us, and if I've missed any other manufacturers in the room, please tell me. I'll be terribly embarrassed if I've missed you, but we want you in the photo. Okay, so at this time, if we could just come up and Paul will tell us where to. Really quick, I said I would be embarrassed, and I need you to know that Tyler with Stratasys is here also. Thank you.
Hey, hey, you can wear this. Everyone's one.
Squeeze very tight.
John, maybe John.
Yep, ready? On then, squeeze. Ready? All right, everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
You look perfect.
Very nice. Good to see you.
I always invite our manufacturers to stay for the full meeting, but they are welcome to slip out at this time also if they'd like.
All right. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. These are items 4 through 9. These items can be enacted by a single motion by the council unless they wish to pull one and consider it separately. I will read these for the minutes, and then the council can either request to remove or to adopt them. Item 4 is adopting the minutes of the September 9th city council meeting. Item 5 is adopting a resolution nominating a candidate for the Bell County Tax Appraisal District Board of Directors. And that will be Todd Scott, who will be also representing, I think, BISD as well as the city of Belton. Item 6 is appointing to the Bell County Public Health District Board of Directors. We're appointing Kathy Fox, who will be replacing Charla Peters, who no longer desires to be reappointed. Item 7 is adopting a resolution for the financial policies of the city of Belton. Item 8 is authorizing the city manager to execute a membership agreement with the Central Texas Water Alliance. Item 9 is adopting the building safety grant application to construct an elevator at the property located at 213 East Central Avenue in downtown Belton Commercial Historic District. If you're curious where that's on Central, they're putting an awning out front, and I think they have popcorn on the basement in the first floor. So those are items 4 through 9. Chair would entertain a motion, or we may remove any item for consideration.
Move we approve items 4 through 9 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to to adopt items 4 through 9. Any other consideration or comments? All those in favor? Say
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 10, we have a Zoom caller. So for the public comments, just letting you guys know that if you hear somebody talking above, it's not God, it's somebody joining us remotely. So item 10 is hold a public hearing and consider zoning change from agricultural to commercial District 2 on approximately 4 acres located at 3275 West US Highway 190 Service Road. Ms. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You guys may know this as the Dixon paving location that is closer to 1670. The applicant is requesting a zoning change to fit their current use as a contractor's office. This area was annexed in 2002 and constructed back in 1985, I believe, before the annexation. So it's an existing use. So again, just bringing that usage into compliance with our requirements. Future land use plan shows this as a commercial retail area, so it meets the requirements of the future land use map. Water and sewer is in the Belton CCN. As you are aware, we are constructing water line and, I'm sorry, it's in the Dog Ridge CCN. However, we're constructing water line and sewer lines in this area to assist. Property owner notifications were sent out, and we received 1 letter of support for this zoning change. With that, the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting last week, and they recommended approval of the requested zoning change. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you, Tina. We will open the floor for anyone who wishes to speak in favor or against this item. That's either here in person or virtual. If anyone wishes to say something, again, name and address for the record, and 3 minutes is our typical time limit. All right, there being no comments, we'll close the public hearing and reopen the council meeting for consideration of this item.
Seems like a good transition, good, I'm gonna approve item number 10, Z 2527 as presented. Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 10. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. And we're all good. It's a Monday, maybe a Tuesday. Yeah. Item 11 is hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from neighborhood to planned development neighborhood PD neighborhood on approximately half an acre located at 715 South Pearl Street. Ms. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As stated, this property is off of South Pearl Street. It is south of Avenue F and north of Avenue H in that area. As you can see, that is a larger lot, but is a family-owned lot, and one of the previous applicant applied for a manufactured home permit before the zoning change went into effect for the neighborhood zoning district earlier this year. The applicant has a sister that also wants to put a home over on that property, so they will need to subdivide that into 2 lots, but she's asking for permission to be able to place a manufactured home on the property. Here's a look at the existing home that is currently there that was just placed within the last month. So the future land use map has this as Imagine Belton, and this area is all residential. Water and sewer is provided by the city of Belton. Property owner notices were sent out. We received no letters of support or objection for the zoning change. The planning and zoning heard this at their meeting last week and recommended approval of that. That would approve a manufactured home that meets the requirements of the Conservation Revitalization District, which is actually just on the west side of the property. You'll see that Conservation Revitalization overlay. And setbacks shall meet the requirements of the neighborhood district. And a final subdivision plat meeting our requirements is also required. And the applicant just walked in. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And the applicant will also be happy to address any questions you have as well.
All right. Before we start talking about it, we'll open the floor for the public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, they may do so at this time. There being no public comments on this item, we will reconvene and consider this item. Any comments or questions?
So we're approving the PD for the entire lot, but then it still has to come back for subdivision.
There is already an existing home on it, but yes, it would apply to the entire lot. Yes, it would have to come back for a subdivision plat. Maybe it could be done administratively. There's utilities already here. I don't think that it necessarily has to go through the public hearing process or a hearing for the subdivision plat, but that is a requirement before a building permit can be issued.
So when something's subdivided, does it carry the prior zoning with it, or do you have to go in and rezone? Okay.
It will
So-
trigger the prior zoning.
Okay.
It's based on the acreage that's currently there now.
So with generally supportive of the infill, but when I see a larger lot, I always tend to float towards what if an ADU pops up? Is there something that we, if I didn't want an ADU in the situation, would we set that now in a PD? Because I know we've done a lot of changes to zoning over, I don't know which areas it's a lot, but I know some ADU allowance, some didn't. What would this have?
This would have an ADU allowance. This is in the neighborhood zoning, and neighborhood zoning does allow for ADU. There is a size limitation, less than 25% of the existing home, so less than 25 on each lot.
But with it being a PD, we could add the restriction against ADUs.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of where I was, because I mean, with cost of homeownership and where we're at the economy, I'm supportive of the mobile home. There's the one already there. But I worry if it ends up being a future owner down the line and add an ADU and stuff like that, and just with it already being manufactured homes, but.
Yeah, you come in and add a smaller mobile home with an ADU or something. I get that.
I tend to be in favor of ADUs. I think it's good to be able to have people allowed to build on their property, add what they want. So.
I move we approve the changes presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the change as presented. Any comments or questions before we vote? There being no comments, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Moving on to 12. Hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from agricultural to planned development PDA agricultural on approximately 4.4 acres located at 1971 FM 1670. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This property, as stated, is off of FM 1670. It is north of where the storage unit, storage, sorry. The other storage unit that I am blinking out on that serves Three Creeks area. This area was annexed back in 2004. A subdivision plat was approved in 2023 with the fire exemption in this area, but as we're adding water line in this area, they will have a fire hydrant that's nearby. This area, again, a subdivision plat was approved. The applicant had originally wanted to build a site-built home. However, costs got a little too much and he's looking at this for affordability. With that, future land use map shows this as commercial retail. However, there are residential uses adjacent to this. This is Dog Ridge Water, however, we're improving the system. Sewer, city is currently constructing sewer, but because of the plat, the applicant had review for an off-site storage facility back in 2023 that was approved by the health department. He plans on using that. The house is going towards the rear of the property, so there'll be a little distance from the sewer line for him to be able to reach that. Property owners' notices were sent out to property owners, and we received no letters of support or objection to the zoning change. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting last week and recommended approval of the requested zoning change. This will allow for one manufactured home to be placed on the lot.
All right, thank you. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or against this item, we have now opened the floor for public comments. Anyone wish to speak on this item? There being no comments on item 12, we'll close the floor and reconvene. Any comments or questions from council? I have one. Typically agricultural does not accommodate living. It's typically when you move, I mean, agricultural is typically, I'll say, a non-conforming. It comes in as ag and it's meant to be ag. And if you want to put a house on it, then we need to go to something with a CR overlay, like single family, multifamily. I don't understand PD agriculture when it comes to residential.
Correct. So agriculture actually refers to the size of the lot. Residential homes are allowed in the agricultural zoning. The reason why we didn't do a CR overlay, there are requirements for what the zoning has to be for the CR overlay. We just thought this meets the agricultural requirements for over 3 acres and is already an agricultural zone. Again, as a way to limit the number of lots there, let's keep it as agricultural zoning with the PD.
And the restrictions on the PD are,
That one manufactured home will be there. If we were to zone it like single family one, it will allow for lots that are 10,000 square feet. So that could be subdivided into multiple lots. The PD.
so this would not allow it to be subdivided.
Correct.
Okay.
Will allow for that 3
Yeah.
acre minimum
Yeah,
requirements.
thank you. I was curious why we would be doing agriculture for residents, so thank you. Any other comments or questions?
So same question, we couldn't add a bunch of ADUs on this one because it's restricted to the one unit.
Move we approve item 12.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 12. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Item 13, I do have some signed up, but we'll read it and talk about it before we call you forward. Item 13 is hold a public hearing and consider an appeal of a zoning change from planned development retail to planned 30 retail specific use permit package store on approximately 3.5 acres located at 3 Sparta. Ms. Tina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was a mouthful.
It
This
is, sorry.
property is where the applicant is going in, looking at taking over where GameStop used to be in the shopping center. So that's why that little hash mark is just on that suite on the site plan. This is a local franchise. They have operations in Temple, Killeen, and Morgan's Point, and looking to establish a store here in Belton. This is an existing shopping center, so it really meets all of the retail needs for traffic volumes. There's parking throughout the area, appropriate lighting and separation between the residential property that is adjacent on the south of this area. For our requirements for our package store, it is compatible with the surrounding zoning again, because there are existing retail stores in the area and one of the busiest shopping areas in Belton. Its hours of operations are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Of course, they're closed on Sundays and on Christmas and Thanksgiving holiday and the New Year. It seems reasonable. It meets our 300-foot separation. There is a church that's adjacent to the property. It exceeds the 300 feet requirements that we have adopted. There are no mitigations expected because again, it's in a shopping center that has all of those requirements there. We did receive one letter of opposition for the zoning change due to the proximity to the resident neighborhood and potential adverse impacts that it may have on the neighborhood and the proximity to another approved liquor store in the HEB Plaza. For the zoning, planning and zoning heard this at their meeting last week and denied the requested application. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have, and the applicants are here should you have any questions for them as well.
I have one question, and I'll probably ask it on item 14. Could you look up what the official motion was and what the vote was on item 13 and 14? So after we do public comments, you can have that answer. I think that there's going to be some questions about specifically what the motions were. So I'll give you guys a minute to do that. So while they do that, we will close our deliberations and open the floor. It looks like we've got a handful of comments. I'm just going to read these in order. And so if you didn't sign up for this item and you still want to speak, you can do so. But these are the ones who got their list. So it's kind of like the skip a line at Universal Studios. So they get in first. All right. So the first person to sign up to speak on item 13 is Richard Wood. If you don't mind, again, restating your name and your address for the record so we have that in the audio recording for Miss Amy when she does the minutes. And we have 3-minute timer. And so Dave is our official timer. He's the big guy, so we don't argue with Dave.
I will, for anybody who's speaking, after you give your name and address for the record, I'll start your 3-minute timer. When you've got about 20 seconds left, I'll raise my hand. That'll be kind of an indicator to wrap up, and then I'll cut you off at 3 minutes if you're still going.
All right.
Okay. My name is Richard Wood. I live at 7279 Piping Rock Road. I am a ruling elder of the First Presbyterian Church of Belton, which this planned zoning butts right up against our property. As a ruling elder, I do have the ability to speak for the congregation. We have several concerns about it. One is that we have dealt with several issues of trash and vagrancy and trespassing through our lot from the vape shop, including having people going through our trash cans looking for vape canisters that had been left off. We do not want to have more trash. We don't want to have people drinking on our lot right after they purchase something at the store. We fear that there'll be more of the same problems we've had with trespassing and trash and possible vandalism as well. We do have a family-friendly environment as a church, and we do have a pavilion out in the back with picnic tables. And we see this as being a draw for people who, for lack of a better way of stating, have evil in their hearts or in their minds, okay, or bad designs, shall we say. There is one mitigation that's required by TABC, and that is there's to be a screen between the property and the adjacent properties. And I have pictures here of the fence. I presented these last week. The fence is falling down. It's dilapidated. There are places that have been knocked through in several places. I myself have had to make repairs in other places along the property line. We reached an agreement with our neighbors at one point to allow a pathway to continue down Church Street so that they were not walking through the backyard of the church. And to this day, that has worked as far as the traffic pattern. But again, with the neighborhood knowing that we have picnic tables and a covered pavilion out there, we see this as being a draw for some unsavory characters or at least some bad actors. And finally, one other thing that we really want to be concerned about is how many liquor stores do we need in this area, and how many do we need in Belton overall? I mean, I understand that it was just voted in, but how many do we need, and how much does this degrade the quality of life in Belton overall? We're trying to keep Belton a friendly place to live and stay. I left and took a job elsewhere and came back because of this quality of life here in Belton. And I would hate to see that go away. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Second person I have signed up is Cheryl Maxwell. Name and address for the record. Not that we don't know who you are, but for the minutes.
Welcome back.
Cheryl Maxwell, 311 Greenbrier Street. I'm within the 200-foot notification boundary. I did return my comments, so you should have in your packet. And just like to go over the reasons that we are opposed to this request. Per the Belton Code, for a specific use permit, the use should be harmonious and compatible with surrounding existing uses or proposed uses. This liquor store would be located next to single-family homes and a church. We do not consider a liquor store to be harmonious or compatible with these uses. I did an internet search and because I was curious about the downsides of a liquor store in a neighborhood. There's been studies that have shown a liquor store in a residential area can have adverse effects such as increased crime, higher rates of alcohol-related health issues, and a decline in quality of life for neighbors. These effects can be intensified when several liquor stores are located in close proximity to each other. There's two other liquor stores that have recently been approved, one in the HEB shopping center, and I didn't realize this other one, but one in the Sitcog shopping center. These are each about 1,700 feet from this proposed site. So if this is approved, you'd have 3 liquor stores all within less than a half mile of each other. So we find that concerning. There's already a vape shop in the shopping center, which is not considered a family-friendly use. Adding a liquor store, which is another non-family friendly use, can make the shopping center less appealing to families and in turn our neighborhood less desirable for families to live in. This could result in our neighborhood, which is an older neighborhood, converting to rental properties instead of owner-occupied. We see a lot of pedestrian traffic from the neighborhood going to the shopping center and Walmart to the schools. Youth walking to school will walk right by the liquor store, which is not a good environment for them. And with regard to the fence and the pedestrian path, I do believe the pathway is located in the Church Street right away, not private property. So it does seem to be working well. And it's important to keep this pathway open and not completely close it off with a fence. It's convenient for residents to get out and walk to the shopping areas, but it's also a necessity for others. Many residents in the apartments, the Montrose apartments, which are at the end of Montrose Street, a lot of these people do not have a vehicle. It was a shortcut to access the shopping center and Walmart for groceries, saving them a distance of about a mile round trip. If you have to go, down Greenbrier Street to Sparta, not Sparta, but the 317, and then cut back over to Walmart and then cut back over, it is about a mile round trip. So we hope that that pathway will stay open. The applicant mentions concerns if this request is denied when they have met all the requirements. Just want to point out that the 300-foot spacing is a minimum set by TABC. That does not mean the request should be approved just because that distance is met. Each case needs to be evaluated on its own merits and can be subjective. So going back to the SUP criteria, the use should be harmonious and compatible with existing surrounding uses. And these surrounding uses include single-family homes and a church. So we feel like this criteria is not met. Do want to point out we've lived in this location for almost 32 years. Hard to believe, 32 years. The church has been there even longer. We're vested in this community, have made investments in our properties. The applicant is leasing space and we applaud their desire to Dalton's economic growth and job creation. We have no issues with a liquor store in an appropriate location. However, this site next to church and single-family homes is not appropriate. We want to maintain the integrity of our neighborhood, which is good for us and for the city of Belton as a whole. So we're asking you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next person I have is somebody I'm not going to be able to pronounce your name, David, because I don't know what's an A and an O. And is that last is Cazalet? Huh? Cazalas. Yeah. Is there an S at the end? Okay. All right, David. Yeah, you go ahead. You're saying you're okay. So the next and then number 4 is Richard Lewis. So okay, so you're yielding your time. Okay, so Mr. Lewis, you still just get 3 minutes.
Thank you.
And we'll give you and if he needs to get on to it.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you. I want to thank the council for hearing my appeal. My name is Richard Lewis. I live in Temple, 6914 Old Waco Lane, but I'm the owner of the Point Package Stores. We have about to open a 4th in Temple. We have one in Killeen, and I would like one as well. Graduated in Belton High in 1991. Parents have lived here their entire life until Dad passed away. My mother still lives here. Okay, few things. To save time, I made a copy of what I'm going to talk about and the pictures if the council wants them. Thank you. Okay, as far as to address the concerns of some people think they have enough liquor stores. Can we all agree that this is the main retail district for Belton? This area. Well, just in that area, and I have them listed out individually, there are 4 in this same locations. There are 4 Mexican food restaurants, 5 nail salons, 6 hair salons, 5 pizza places, 2 vape shops, 3 Chinese food places, Panda Express Construction, and 2 dental offices. Care Dental is in the H-E-B Shopping Center next to the Twin Liquors that you approved. Ace Dental, coincidentally, is right next to the space that I am trying to rent. Other than that, the path is a trail. There's pictures of it inside there. This is a trail. It's not an approved thoroughfare. The fence was knocked down. That's private property owned by the retail center. So they'll be rewarding vandalism. Secondly, the church pavilion is on church property and located directly behind the church and not visible from Church Street. So it's not anywhere, it's directly behind the church. It's not like it's right across the fence from there. Secondly, it's their responsibility to regulate any unauthorized use. Lawful businesses should not have to be denied because they can't control it. Also, the Mexicano Grill has on-premises alcohol consumption and alcoholic beverages can be purchased there. As far as trash, all we have are boxes. We don't have vape cartridges or anything like that. And there's no on-premises consumption. The Montrose apartment complex that they're referring to has 142 units and it lies 1,041 feet in a direct line from the location I like. Legacy Landing Apartments, 224 units, lies 530 feet in a direct line. Turtle Creek Village with 382 units lies 790 feet in a direct line. Yes.
That's it's 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, Ray Severn, the owner of those, supports me getting that location. He thinks it's a great idea for Belton and it's a perfect place for it in a retail district. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. If anyone else wishes to speak in favor or in opposition, they may do so. They don't have to live within 200 feet. They can. All right. there being no one else who wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this item, we will close the floor and we will consider this request. That the question I'd ask, if you could please let us know what the actual motion was on this item from
Correct.
planning
The
and
motion
zoning.
was to disapprove the request and it passed with 5-2.
Okay,
5
so
to disapprove and 5-4.
okay. So for everyone to know, as we have a motion to disapprove this request, it would require a supermajority vote of the council to do so, which is 6-1. So we would have to have 6 people in favor of this, which is a high bar. The planning and zoning is there for a reason, and so when they disapprove something, it's a high bar for us to go and overrule that. So again, just procedural, just so everyone in the room understands. So now I'll open the for deliberation if anyone has any comments or questions or a motion from the council.
I would ask, is it accurate that there's a requirement for screening? And if so, who?
The enforcement thing?
There is a requirement for screening from commercial to residential property. I believe the homeowners wanting access off of that public road is some part of the reason why that little gap is missing. But yes, there is a requirement for screening because of the zoning to adjacent residential, retail to residential.
Zoning or TABC or both?
Zoning.
On that particular, when plans, one of the thoughts was to extend, I can't remember what road it is that's Church Street, is to extend Church Street to Sparta. So when we were looking at this, and it was recommended by our engineer at the time not to do that because it would encourage wayfinding and people driving down to Greenbrier or Montrose to bypass Central Sparta. I mean, to bypass, the Sparta intersection. And so we didn't. And so when we did that, I think the intention was to keep it closed. So I guess. So that's why I'm confused about the path, because we didn't want wayfinding, even though at the time, me personally, it's like, it makes sense to have a road there, or at least a sidewalk, because people are going to want to get the Walmart. Now they're going to have to go further, but we didn't do that. So it should be screened. Do what?
It's more of a pedestrian path.
Yeah, but it's not an official pedestrian
not
path.
official.
Yeah, so it should be, if the code requires it, then we should require it. Is like, yeah. I think, but that's a separate issue. I think that's just something that.
Well, I think that can be part of the SUP. Given that it's an SUP.
Yeah. Well, the challenge is this is inside, it's not the whole property, right? It's just that one little store. And so anyway, so it's just within the boundaries of that store. It doesn't apply to the parking, I don't think. Right?
From the alcohol side, that's correct, but from the commercial to residential.
Yeah, but
side,
we're
it
not
does.
considering, that's not part of the motion. I'm just.
I understand.
Yeah.
But it is a code enforcement.
Yeah.
That's correct. The zoning change is only the square footage of the alcoholic beverage sale.
Yeah. Which is accurate, that we probably should address that at some point. Any other comments or questions on?
Guess help me understand, again, back to the motion, it was based upon what legal, I mean, you know me, so what legal, I mean, this is meeting all the requirements that we've set forth based upon this being voted into our city and ordinances being set up. This is meeting all of the requested requirements that we have in place. Is that an accurate statement?
That is an accurate statement.
Okay.
Discretionary voting.
You know, I'm really big on the same lines of being consistent. I know we have already approved 2 package stores that do back up to residential. And also when you look at that area, you know, being mainly residential, just say, does it fit the area? Well, yeah, I mean, at Walmart, they sell beer and alcohol. At Taqueria, they sell liquor. I mean, it's already in that area. And this isn't a bar, it's a liquor store. It's people coming and going. And so and as you, it meets all the requirements. So it's hard for me to find a reason to say we should not approve this when we have approved two others, similar situations, and met all the requirements.
Yeah, I would just kind of echo that and add that the citizens have voted to allow package stores in the city of Belton. We have worked for a number of months to determine the most appropriate locations for those, which include retail. And there's not a more, in my opinion, appropriate location than a retail center for something to happen. I think that closing up the screening is going to probably help solve some of the concerns. But like a couple of folks have said, I think that we don't have legs to stand on to turn this down. I think that it meets all the requirements, and I think we've got to approve it. I'll move to approve item 13 as presented.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to overrule the Planning and Zoning Commission's negative vote to approve this item in favor of the appeal by the, I guess not the owner, the applicant. Thank you. I was looking for that word. Thank you, applicant. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion before we vote? Again, it's a super majority vote. It has to pass at least 6-1.
That's side and back screening, correct?
Screening between
Commercial and residential, but the side screening,
Screening well.
yeah, but there's not residential on the sides, right? But, well, unless there is there?
No, it's the
It's all-
same,
But they're offset.
it's the same zoning as the restaurant because the restaurant owns the.
But the
land, too.
restaurant doesn't have screening,
Restaurants in between. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
so they screening as well, technically, right?
Technically, and also this is looked at with the site plan during that time. This is grandfathered in. It's been there the restaurant's been there for some time.
Okay.
Really would like to do anything we could to discourage pedestrian access into the neighborhood or flow to and from the liquor store in the neighborhood. I think we should do all we can do to help the neighborhood maintain its integrity.
My understanding from listening to P and Z discussion was that several of the neighbors appreciated having that pass, so they would walk to Walmart and not have to get in their car and drive around. And so I believe it wasn't, as you said, I believe it was an resident pathway, even though it's not a legal pathway.
Well, I was actually at the meeting when we did that, and they were very much against having anything through there. And it's like, you realize you're not going to be able to get from here to there without, and they said, that's fine. That's what the residents at the time said. And so we closed that off. It's like, well, it seems the Church Street just lines right up. See, but anyway, but that was at that time. Of course, people move in and things change. I will say a couple of things. I think the first one is for the governing elder. What was it? Yeah. So the police got called on me when I was probably kindergarten or first grade, living on 204 Montrose, playing in the backyard of their church. So obviously some hoodlums had broken some windows and they assumed I was part of that. And I was just out there flying a kite, like literally just flying a kite. So I apologize for being there. But no, I know the area very well. And I understand the concern. I think two things can be right. I think one is, if we were to just look at the map for the city of Belton and identify areas for package stores that are reasonable, when you look at HEB, Walmart, Lake Road, Sparta Road, Main Street, that area, and just draw a circle. Generally speaking, I would say that if a Specs or a Wine, what's the big Total Wine or something, like if somebody like that, a big store were to come in, that would be one of the areas. Probably the downtown area for a boutique kind of package store. And then I don't know, maybe some of the larger thoroughfares like a Loop 121 or a 190 or an I-35 that you would probably have 2 or 3 areas within the city that we would recognize that those are reasonable. Others that we would probably not think so good are Dunn's Canyon behind the high school and in the middle of a neighborhood. And so there's areas that we would say probably are not good. Other areas are. But one argument is we've approved this thing. The voters voted for it. It's in our area, so that's just the black and white. At the same time, when you look at the applicable use, what actually is happening when we see human behavior, we see some negative behavior in this area because you've got a vape store, you've got a cash place, you got a dollar store. You just have all these things that kind of add up that when you put all these things together, it's not conducive right next door to a residential neighborhood. The people that live there, but so 2 things can be true. And so I just want to recognize people that are arguing one side, you're right. People arguing the other side, you're right. So that's why it comes to difficult split votes on planning and zoning, and also more difficult vote for council overrule the planning and zoning. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys understood that we don't have an agenda here. We're just trying to be Solomon, and there's no baby to split. We got to pick a choice, and so somebody's not going to remove their disapproval or approval based on our vote. So anyway, any other comments before we vote? We'll do a roll call vote, Amy, since it's going to be a super majority, and so if you'll do the roll call and we'll vote.
Councilmember Booker.
Aye.
Did somebody have
That's
something? Councilmember O'Banion. Aye. Mayor Pro Tem Holmes. Councilmember Pearson.
No.
Councilmember Covington.
Aye.
Councilmember Potts.
Aye.
Mayor Lee.
Can I vote like present or not here, or I need to go to the bathroom? The tie vote. Dang it, and after all that. Aye. And we've got to fix those fences. And we got to make sure that screenings are where they need to be. And I feel for you. I really do.
Just want everybody to know how much we really do deliberate, agonize. I mean, this is important to us, and we sense neighbors, and we sense the business folks desire to do what they want to do and need to do. But these are really, really tough. And
Yep.
you just kind of saw firsthand there.
Yep.
And we have to really consider the feelings of those that have lived there for decades and how the things are changing. And that has to carry weight as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. And again, we've voted for it. Having 1 package store, is that enough? Maybe having 20 package stores in Belton, that's too much. Like, where's the right number? And a lot of these have been approved. They haven't even been constructed. I think when which one? Twin Liquors? What's the one that's Twin Liquors? I think there's 1 or 2 that probably have probably shelved their plans. So I don't think we're going to get all the ones constructed that have been approved. And I think that's a market thing. I think the market will have success or failure.
It's the beauty of
So if you want to make sure that somebody doesn't succeed, then don't buy their stuff. And if you want them to succeed, go buy their stuff, right? So
One quick comment I want to add as well, if that's okay. Just want to thank the business for choosing Belton as well. I think I want to be cautious about the kind of customer Zoom is coming and going from that business. The Point's been in Morgan's Point how long?
It was open when my parents bought it 38.
So, I mean, I appreciate and again, good business for Morgan's Point. So I just say thank you to you too. And while also understanding the challenge in this growing area and certainly understand the concerns.
Yep.
To alleviate some concerns also, thank you.
Thank you.
On the back of that building, the back of that door, no.
This will just be real quick.
Yeah,
To
real quick.
alleviate some concerns, the back of that building the back of that store directly lines up. All my stores have a high definition camera that'll monitor that and the side. That, so should
Okay.
any, that it protects citizens and everything. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right.
Mayor, I'm standing from item
15. All right, so item 14, council member Covington will be abstaining, him being in real estate. Sometimes he deals with real estate issues that we deal with, so he will not be voting. Item 14, and he's not going to be rolling his eyes either. So anyway, so item 14, hold a public hearing and consider an appeal of a zoning change from planned development uptown to amended planned development uptown on a 1 acre located at 921 East 6th Avenue. Ms. Tina.
All right, to save time, this was a zoning change that we looked at last month for the location of the convenience store and package store. However, we didn't have the distance at that, so this is coming back with the distance. And as a reminder, they're looking at a convenience store that's 5,000 square feet, a package store 2,000 square feet, and laundromat 2,000 square feet. There are 2 access points off of 6th Avenue. 6th Avenue is an active commercial corridor. Daily traffic counts range from 7,800 to 16,500. As a reminder. So here's a site plan that was proposed. The distance from this location where the site plan was imported into the GIS map shows the distance to the front door of the church to be exceed 300 square foot, 300 feet requirement is at 482. Planning and zoning heard this item and their exact vote was to approve the item. However, the vote for that was 3-4, so it failed.
Okay. All right, now that we hear what we're talking about, we will close our deliberations, open the floor for public comments. I've got at least one that is signed up to comment on this item. If you wish to speak in favor or against this item, now's time to do so. I have Todd and Tina Smith that signed up. You wish to just name and address for the record and 3 minutes.
Hopefully it won't be that long. Todd Smith, 4711 Waterworks. We were here last month and there was a tremendous amount of optimism and excitement around something happening with the patch in Belton. We had the misstep, I guess you could call it, of the distance between the church and the properties. We didn't have that to make a motion on that. Since that, we've got that. Again, with P&Z, we were short a couple of people. We got a 4-3 vote not to approve. Yeah, I just can't. There's so much opportunity as we bought that. My family bought that place in 1965, I believe. Worked at it, kept it up for years and years and years. And now we have Imagine Belton coming in. My parents and my aunt and uncle it's time for them to retire. There's an opportunity there that might fit both outcomes. We get a brand new, beautiful building with the applicant that's come in and done everything as far as Imagine Belton's specifications and everything to come in and just really excited about doing it. They are ready to do it. And this is a big play if it doesn't go through. So that's really all I have. I just ask y'all to consider that. Make sure that, this is a kickoff project for Imagine Belton and would love to see it go through.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Oh, yeah, we're both going. All right.
Better than that.
Tina.
I'm Tina Smith, 4711 Waterworks Road, Belton. As Todd spoke about, this is not just a store, it's a large project. It's a very nice convenience store that's modern with a laundromat that is going to be modern and service that whole side of town, just like the Smith Brothers grocery store has done in the past for years. They just happen to be also asking for a package store in there. It was brought to the attention of P&Z last month that there is a church in the vicinity. So it was tabled for the proper measurements to be taken. Those were taken and brought to P and Z last week. And the chairman of P and Z said this is a no-brainer. And then dialogue started about possibly looking at restrictions in the future that need to be addressed about the distance between package stores. And I just don't think that that was the venue for that discussion. Therefore, they didn't approve it, but it was not also denied. So I have more of a question on that, because the hurdle that we have to face now is bringing it to you and asking if we can get 100% vote in favor, since we've got someone abstaining, which is a pretty high bar. So we're hoping that that can be reevaluated. And if it was just a majority vote, that seems fair to me. But because there was an error made in the past, it seems like we're being penalized for something that, I mean, this applicant has done everything possible to meet the restrictions and to make this something cohesive with the community of Belton. I'll just vote for you to ask that you reconsider that. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Anyone else wish to speak in favor or against item 14? There being no others, we will close the floor and we will reopen the deliberations amongst the council. Again, to clarify just procedurally, the last item was a motion to disapprove, which passed 5-2. This was a motion to approve, which did not pass, with 3 voting to approve, 4 voting to disapprove. But they did not come back with a secondary motion to disapprove. I would say procedurally, we probably need to educate, because of our zoning ordinance wording, that our planning and zoning, if they wish to disapprove an item and create the supermajority, that they need to make that in their motion. So I would say but that being said, they probably assume that a no vote on approval is the same as a disapproval, which is, in legal terms, I guess there's a guilty, there's a not guilty, and there's a no contest. We find ourselves in a no contest. There's not really, we didn't get a yes, we didn't get a no. But we got, at least of those that were attending, of the 7 that were there, I think there's 9 members, 7. We're not sure what the other 2. So anyway, I just wanted to guys some clarity. I've talked to staff a little bit about this. I think going forward, if there is not a motion to disapprove, that it would only take a simple majority to accept it. But on this particular case, I'm not sure what the right thing to do. I think the technical thing is we would just need a simple majority, since they didn't make the motion to disapprove. But that being said, the intent of those present, that's up to council to debate. And I am all ears. So.
Yeah, that was a question I raised today, David. I appreciate you, Mayor, sorry. I appreciate you saying that. Because we've had it, yeah, because I know we've had circumstances up here where the first motion didn't carry and we have to flip the motion for a second one. And so that's just where I was confused on that, especially because it is such a touchy place with supermajority versus regular majority. But my Stephanie's, Dave's, Luke, they're all echo from the previous agenda item, that this item checks all the boxes with less residential. Church is still roughly the same distance as in the last case. It's across a major thoroughfare for us. This is on a major thoroughfare coming into town. As owner stated, it's really our Imagine Belton kickoff, and super pumped about that. And again, I think with this checking all the boxes, I think it's, and like Dave said, with voters specifically voting for wet in the city of Belton, this is a hard one to say it shouldn't go there. And so that's where I stand currently. So
as a participant on the EDC board, well, this is a neat project that we're excited about. Really kicks off Imagine Belton, 6th Street renovation, expansion, sidewalks, underground utilities, the whole 9 yards. And so it does seem to me meets every parameter, every box that needs to be checked. And I apologize that we weren't a little better prepared, initially, to see this with, allowing the sale of liquor. Yeah, and so, well, I think we should just be able to go through with a simple majority, and get this through and, start to see, Sixth Avenue, improvements. And, you know, since 1965, they've been there. Maybe it is time to retire, but, everything I've seen about the project is really, really exciting.
It is really exciting to see the beautification of Belton. You know, old buildings that have been there since 65, people being willing to put their money into it, make it better. I love seeing that around Belton. And I have similar thoughts on this than I did the last agenda item where I'm big on consistency. And this is very consistent with the package stores we have approved in the past. And so I don't see myself personally finding a reason to vote against it.
Ms. Moore, the only item in protest that we've received was from Mr. Harold Edwards. Is that correct? That's in our packet?
I believe so.
And is there any, we don't have the whole minutes from the P and Z. Were there other neighbors who appeared? We have none in opposition on this item here tonight.
There was one speaker that just had a clarification. She owned the ice cream shop by the church, but she did not say whether she was opposed or in favor of it.
Okay, thank you.
Just in one last note, in the long-term planning of this, there's an abandoned rail line right there. There's sewer lines in the back of this. There's a lot of infrastructure issues that have gone into the layout of that property and, the Smith property as well. There's been a tremendous amount of behind the scene work on this. And it really does make sense. And I know the EDC supports it and it, this, and, I really hope so. Serious.
You know, go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead and make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Z 2526 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to approve item 14 as presented. I would say this, when we considered the last meeting, because of the confusion of the 300 feet, it came to council and we could have approved it at that time. And we chose, you know, because we know folks on planning and zoning, and I think generally they were in favor of it. But for whatever happened, their sentiment changed from one meeting to the next meeting, and we all just thought this was a cleanup item and unintentionally reopened it, and now we got a non-approval. We didn't get a motion to dismiss it, but anyway. So for this one, I look at it as more of just a cleanup item that we'd already discussed. We were all in favor because the liquor was just one small portion of a larger project that we had a nice picture of and all this stuff. So anyway, so I concur with you guys that this is seems definitely different than the last one. So any other comments before we vote? My interpretation is this does not require a supermajority. We'll see what the vote lands. If we end up with a supermajority anyway, then we don't have to discuss anything bigger. But we'll just I'll just go all in favor. Say aye.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just.
What?
We've had a little discussion.
Let us vote and then we'll discuss.
If you vote, then that's done. Here's all I would say. If you are saying that you don't think the Planning and Zoning Commission action met the requirements of a supermajority, you need to make that finding. And
Okay,
that
I thought I said that, but
well,
in many more words than that. So I'll be very succinct.
But I'm talking about what was in the motion. I'm just saying, if there's a belief that what the Planning and Zoning Commission did not meet the requirements of a supermajority, I think you need to make that finding because the city has accepted the appeal. That's why we're here tonight. And maybe I'm not explaining myself good enough.
Do we need to do that through a motion, a separate motion?
I think that would be
Part of.
A part of the motion.
But in the minutes, it's very clear we're voting to approve this item. We have a second to approve this item. And the context of the approval is recognizing that they did not make a motion. And that we've stated that.
That wasn't in the motion that was made tonight.
The motion is to
approve the item.
approve the item.
But we have an appeal. And the reason for the appeal was because of what the Planning and Zoning Commission did. This is a
So
action.
we approving their appeal?
Well, you have.
It says
an appeal.
hold a public hearing and consider an appeal of a zoning change. So
So
that's saying.
So-
I'm saying,
okay, so we have an invalid motion. Because we can't approve the item because we have an appeal. We need to have a motion on the appeal.
I think you can do it in one motion. All I'm saying is you need to make a finding.
Okay, so since the agenda item says an appeal of a zoning change instead of approving a zoning change, we do not have a valid motion. The chair would entertain a valid motion on the appeal of a zoning change for plan development.
Do we need?
I studied up on the Roberts Rules book. Ready for this?
Yeah.
I make a motion to amend the original motion to include that a supermajority vote is not required for this item.
Based on
Based
what
on
the
the
planning-
fact that the motion to approve at P and Z did not carry and no disapproval motion was made.
The no disapproval.
Correct, no disapproval motion was made.
Did not constitute a recommendation for the.
Second.
correct.
All right, we have a motion. We have a motion and a second to amend the original motion to include all the words that our legal counsel encouraged us to say. Any comments about?
You should have been here
all the
last
words?
time.
All in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes 6-0. Now, we will now vote on the amended motion to approve this with all the words about the supermajority not required because there was no disapproval motion made at planning and zoning. Any other comments or questions on this amended? So this is a motion to approve, which will not require a supermajority.
Make that motion.
No, we
You
already
already made
made
it.
I'm just making
You
sure.
already made it.
No, we've got the motion. Does anybody have any more comments? We can make a motion to make a motion. All right, we can vote to vote. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, it passed supermajority.
All of that for
Anyway.
that.
So.
Do I have to come back?
All right, now.
You have to come back.
You caused this whole
There needs to be a
thing.
motion.
Motion to take it now. All right,
Oh, the good stuff
item
now.
15. Hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance amending section 3818 of the zoning ordinance related to high profile monument sign height on properties along I-35 and I-14. Mr. Van Til.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. We're going to discuss proposed pole sign heights. Pole signs include high-profile monument signs and pole signs. High profile, the difference between the two basically is one has multiple signs on it, the other one just has one sign on it. But essentially, they're managed in the same way. We're only talking about property that faces Interstate 14 and Interstate 35, and only if the property is zoned appropriately. The current ordinance requires that the pole signs are at a maximum of 20 feet tall. There's some exceptions in the Imagine Belton area, closer to Maine where it's 40, and then further up towards Temple, it's 100. That's typically on the north side of 35. You may recall that we have received a variety of requests for taller signs over the years, and that's what generated this effort. So the proposed policies, as I mentioned, are just on 35 and 45. And that's where the majority of the exceptions have taken place, as a matter of fact. Just as a side note, I want to explain some of the existing policies that we have. The height of the sign is also related to the elevation of the main lanes of the highways. So if a sign is located, as you can see in Exhibit A there on the left, if it's below the main lanes, then the sign can be taller. If it's above the main lanes, like you see in Exhibit B, then it can still be 20 feet, but it can also take advantage of the elevation that it's above the main lanes. They do have some existing spacing requirements. For instance, monument
Can I-
signs
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Because my alma mater had a limit on its how tall the tower it could be, and it couldn't be taller than the state capitol.
Okay.
So they built a mound and built it on top of the tower,
Okay.
the tower on top, so it's taller than the state capitol.
Okay.
So when we say that if it can be built on a mound, if some person from that school were to come up with the idea of making a 20 mound and putting a sign, I think we might think about people who think around the rules.
Yeah,
No
that's a-
offense to.
How about
That's a
building
good
finished
question.
floor elevation?
We look at, I mean, we're not proposing any changes. I just wanted to explain this is the existing policy, that the sign may be taller or shorter than what the height of the main lanes are. Now, it's the natural topography of the law.
Okay, as
Not
long as we
building-
say it's the natural topography.
If somebody sneaks there in the middle of the night and puts extra dirt out there, well, we don't have any control of that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, just to wrap up that thought, there are some spacing requirements, some horizontal spacing requirements. 600 feet between the two and then 100 between the pole signs. We're not, like I said, we're not making any suggestions on the spacing and things like that. We're just talking about the height of the signs. Just some examples of signs to kind of give you an idea of scale and location, things like that. This is in a Temple. This is the Bucky sign. This is kind of moving towards Belton or in Belton. So we have some examples there. These are existing signs. And the reason we show these things is that some of the recommendations that we're making, as you all know, are not too far away from these existing situations. And then we'll wrap up with our newest addition down in Salado, which is 105 feet tall. The way we went about doing this, we did the research and we looked at a variety of different sign ordinances, and we have graphed them there. We looked at Hutto, Cedar Park, Belton, of course, and Waco and things like that. And so you see statutory sign heights are the sign limits in the ordinances. So that's by code. And so we pick an average of those things, and it's about 50 feet. Then we went the next step and we looked at the actual signs that are in those areas. And so we charted those as well, as you can see on the graph. And then the average is about 64 feet. So we looked at that data and we just took it and ran with it. As we have explained to you in the past, we haven't changed our methodology there whatsoever. So our recommendation is on the top left is a recommendation for the downtown and uptown areas is 100 feet. In the center of the screen is a 50-foot maximum height from Loop 121 down to the southern limits of the city. And then on the lower right, you see a very similar exhibit going from the interchange to the western city limits, also 50 feet maximum height there. So that's based on the research. We weren't considering necessarily the aesthetics of those things. We think it's a good way to go about doing it. Just a reminder, we discussed this with the governance committee back in July. And in August, we had a conversation with you all about this. And then we took this through the formal approval process with the planning commission just last week. And then, of course, here we are today with you all. Our recommendation from the planning commission, they recommended approval. And our recommendation to the city council is our recommendation as presented this evening. And I'll step back and we can have the public hearing and we can answer some questions when we're done.
All right, thank you. All right, again, as stated, this is a public hearing item. So if anyone wishes to speak in favor or against or discuss sign heights, whether they're on a mound or not, they may do so. There being no one rushing to the stage to speak for or against this item, we will close the floor and chair would entertain a motion or discussion on this item.
Bob, could you go back to the bar graph with the blue lines?
I was gonna ask for the same slide.
All right. Looking at this one, the two outliers that are up to 100 feet or more, we got one in Temple and one in Salado. And then the lowest outlier is also in Salado. I feel like if you drop some of those anomalies out of it, my guess is that the average actual sign height is a little lower than 64 feet.
It's because we've never allowed them in Belton.
Yeah, and that Whataburger sign is plenty tall, and so is the McDonald's sign, and I think we got some big ones there that have good visibility. I think the 50 feet along South I-35 and along I-14 are fine. I'm a little hesitant to go 100 feet on the I-35 corridor between South Loop 121 and the Temple city limits. I think I'd probably like something either 75 feet or 50 feet north of the main lane of the interstate or something. I think 100 is just an awful tall sign, and it's going to be a race to the sky to see who can get the tallest sign there. I think. Just my thoughts.
I was actually prepared to argue the other way. I think the 50, I just think everything you're gonna do as a staff, I think we're gonna constantly get requests for higher than 50. And I just.
The average, if you take the outliers out, is 57.5.
I'd love to.
Yeah, 75 seems more than enough. We've got major I-35 reconstruction coming.
Yeah.
Who knows where the highest level will be. Exits are gonna be well north of sound visibility. So as I think, what do we want as a community? And I think 75.
Yeah, if you do 75, then there are only two signs in the area that would be Buc-ee's and Quick Trip. Everything else would be that or lower. But again, to Luke's point, that's because that's what's been enforced.
I'm more for a uniform blanket. If it's interstate, it's interstate.
Yes.
That's my.
Yes.
I'll
my
say I
take.
feel the same way, but I'm gonna veer away from what Dave's opinion is. It's really hard to see the signage, as you were saying, coming from Temple or even coming the other way. And the taller the sign, the better, in my mind, because we do know this I-35, I-14 project is going to be hard on getting people to exit from Belton. And I want every chance we can to convince people to get off the highway, go into Belton, go shopping at our restaurants and our stores. And so on I-35 and I-14, I would actually rather see a uniform 100-foot. And because I want those businesses to have a chance to advertise as best they can to get those cars off I-35.
I want to make sure I made myself clear.
Exit signs a lot more now.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
What's available at that exit rather than relying on a sign. By the time I see it, I don't have time to exit normally.
Well, and TxDOT posted their schematics, so like.
I just drove from Indiana to Belton, and that was the case every time I'm looking.
But I bet you knew where the next Buc-ee's was. 75 miles.
That's a
42 miles.
Because of a
Billboard.
13 because of a
Not
billboard.
because of a
No,
100%.
exactly. It's billboard, it's Waze, Google Maps. I mean,
Yeah.
getting to places are really off-premise signage. I think is more important to get people here than the last minute sign that used to be when kids would see McDonald's and say, "Hey, exit
I mean,
here." You know,
I wouldn't
when
say
they go to
there's no
55.
importance though.
Yeah, to that point, we'd almost be better off saying, hey, ground mount signs only. Here's some land we have, you can put it on it south of town where your where the exit is, because we've seen what the exits are tentatively gonna be. I mean, I don't know that 100-foot helps with new tentative exits.
I do want to make clear.
Because of the
that
distance from where you're exiting and
Yeah.
needing to go.
I just want to make sure that I made myself clear that the north side of 35 through the Imagine Belton codes do allow the 100-foot sign. And then there's a little bit where it's 40 feet as you get closer to Main Street. So that's the distinction there. So we're really talking about the south side of a 35. Just to make sure I made myself clear on that one.
The only point I'm sticking on today is interstate exemption, make it one. Yeah.
I just think we have a lot of challenges coming ahead with those businesses.
Maybe change this altogether once we see what's final. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say this is a category of be what you ask for because there's going to be 7 opinions.
Yeah,
And to get one opinion for and as you stated, we currently have in the downtown area, a lot of it due to topography of 100 foot sign, and that's 100 feet above the grade or 100 feet from where it's planted.
From where it's planted.
That's right.
It allows
And
that.
you're talking about above grade, and that current grade is probably 20 to 30 feet above.
Yeah, the distances that, or the height that we're recommending is from the foot of the sign, not from the,
So wherever,
yeah.
So
Reason-
the
the
thing,
reason I put in
the
those exhibits-
20 feet and the 20 feet and the 30 below and the 10 below that.
No, that'll
Why
stay in
did- why
place.
did
I'm
we
not
see
making
that?
any changes. I
So
put that up
McDonald's
there.
could have basically 130 feet.
Yeah, the reason I
above
put those pictures in there is,
main lane.
is so that you can see how we work with the main lanes on the highway. It's always based on the topography of the lot.
Can you go back to the McDonald's picture?
Okay, so yeah, so tall signs on tall, okay.
Take your pick, I guess.
So that's 75 foot.
Yeah.
That's
Plus
whole
another-
base or main lane?
And that's from the road up is 100 or
the
from,
base of the sign where it's planted to.
It's
The
70.
property is about, you know, we.
So it's probably
Check it
100
out, the
feet
main
from the
line.
road,
Yeah.
but 75 from the grade.
It's probably a 20-foot elevation difference main lane to,
close to it.
It is about 30 feet.
so,
We actually figured that out.
so in theory, they'd have a 130-foot sign that's over the main lane. 100 foot from the base, 30-foot elevation.
Yeah,
difference.
we
Right.
don't know the history of it, so I assume they got a variance on that as well.
Well,
You wanna-
so the request is that we amend it to put 100 feet just across the board on 35 and 14. So that's the requested motion. Requested
The
amendment.
recommendation's 100 and then 50.
Oh, yeah, okay. There we go. So we get 100 on the top left and the rest of my 50. We picked the higher side because of the signs across the street.
Okay. So there's the hundreds and there's the 50s. So that's the recommended
Yep. It's a starting
action
point.
for council. Chair will entertain a motion.
I mean,
I'm gonna
One way
throw
or
it out.
another.
I recommend a 75-foot, whether it's green or red. I make
There's
a
one
motion.
opinion.
my
We'll see if the
recommendation-
second
You can
person-
vote it down or not.
Recommendation is keep it the same amount as you said, but my amount would be 100 feet.
Right, so we have a motion, a
That's a
legal, a
recommendation.
technical
That's not a
motion, so we would.
Have
A
a motion
technical
over there.
second. Do I have a second to the motion that's on the floor of 75 everywhere?
Well, that
Well,
wasn't a
in the red.
motion, that was a recommendation.
No, he said I make a motion.
I said it at the end.
Oh, okay, I did.
I heard him say I make a motion.
What's your motion? 75.
Green or red.
And that's with no relation to the main lanes. That's just.
It would be whatever's built in. So I believe that's built into policy. Because right now that the 50 and 100 is recommendation is
Above.
from
it's
grade
top
or
from
above
grade.
main lanes.
Yeah.
If it's something,
we're not-
right?
Just to make,
Suggestion that you
Shorter if it's
adjust
above,
it.
it's-
make this real clear, green or red, is that all the interstate? So
It is.
the motion would be all of I-14 and all of I-35
Right.
in the
Yes.
city limits.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the motion, 75 feet.
From where?
Yeah, I still don't.
Whatever
Based
his-
on,
whatever his-
based
his-
on, based on
His
his,
written recommendation as
because
is.
it doesn't say that on this.
It's based, that 50 and that 100 is based off of whatever the highest point or the lowest point is. If the lowest
It's
point.
the elevation of the lot. It's the elevation of the lot. That's where you go 75 up.
Oh,
That's
so
where-
you're not doing main lanes. We just asked that. Was.
Well, I put those exhibits in there so you know that how we calculate
Jesus.
these things. And so policy is based on the signs sitting on the lot. And
So it's
up
from-
75 feet or 50 feet, whatever.
It's from the natural topography.
Natural topography.
It would be the distance above the natural topography, regardless of what the topography is,
Exactly.
below or above. All right.
Right.
So this number is based
Perfect.
on natural topography.
I'm still okay with it.
So we still have a motion in the amendment. It already says about the natural topography. You're saying 75, I-35, I-14. That's the motion. Is there a second?
Can I ask a question first?
Well, technically, we need a second for it to even
Second
be.
it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now that we can discuss. Until we get a second, we don't have anything to discuss.
I didn't read that.
Yeah. So now we can discuss the motion on the floor of 75 feet.
Okay, oh, I just want to be clear, because this is different than signs I used to deal with. We're on ZBA. My understanding was if you have land that is way below where the road is I-35, and you add feet on top of that to make it where it could be, if it were 75 feet of where I.
You got it. Exactly.
But that's
But that's not what you told.
Yeah,
that-
yeah,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to start somewhere. We start with the natural topography of the lot. And it depends on whether it's above or below the main lanes. So just focus on the topography of the lot. It may be higher or shorter depending on the topography of the lot. I'm beginning to regret bringing that up, but I needed.
I think what we were thinking is built in. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
know that.
So the,
It's built in.
It is
I don't know
built
what
in.
That means.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Built in makes no sense to me.
I guess.
If
Go-
we're
I
talking
have a
about-
motion.
We're
to
dealing with
75 feet.
individuality, and that has to be figured from the place you're trying to see it from, which is the front seat of a vehicle.
Yeah.
So it has figured, or it should be figured, in my humble opinion, from the main lane height.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
All right, so we have a motion and a second, 75 feet from the natural topography. I'm hearing some people that may or may not agree with it. Let's just vote. And we can make another motion if this one doesn't pass.
Let's play
All in favor of 75 feet above the natural topography, regardless of that topography, say aye.
Aye.
We have two in favor. All opposed, say no.
No.
No. All right, that fails. Now,
You're good. What are we here for?
now, yeah, to win the game, we've got to get through this chapter.
Can,
Okay,
can
so what?
Plus topography.
can I try to?
Should we just table this? This has become.
Hmm.
Am I not on?
Yes.
Oh, can I make a motion to table this? Can we make a motion to postpone this item?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to postpone this item because it sounds like an option to do a workshop impromptu, which is probably the best. So, okay, we're going to table this item. I'm sorry, postpone this item to a future meeting, probably workshop it. All right, all in favor of postpone? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes unanimously.
Fantastic.
No worries.
Please consider I-35, change to I-35.
Yeah, yep. Point. All right. I think we were on item 15. I think we got lost in the jungle somewhere playing Jumanji, and we're back. Item 16, hold a public hearing and consider zoning changes related to the Imagine Belton standards to change properties from single family 1, single family 2, family 2 with conservation and revitalization overlays, various SUPs, retail, multifamily, planned developments, redevelopment districts to the transition zone.
thank you, sir. Very good. Well, as you know, the Imagine Belton standards were an of the Imagine Belton plan, which was approved back in mid-22. And the Imagine Belton standards were approved earlier this year. Both the plan and the standards were adopted after a significant and I would say a robust approval process. And overall, the plan and the standards are intended to reduce development barriers in the planning area, encourage appropriate creative development by right, which reduces the development process, the time to permit activities, those kind of things, and enhances the predictability and transparency of the development process. We will also, I would also like to remind you that the standards provide more of an urban or basically a fundamental shift in the paradigm of development in our community from more of the suburban appearance to more of an urban look. Although this area, the transition area, is somewhat of an outlier because it does kind of connect the two or many of the areas in the plan area. So following the adoption of the standards, the ordinance asked us to begin the rezoning process because we created those 5 zones. And so we've already completed the uptown and the central downtown, and we've already finished the neighborhood zone, which like in June. And now, of course, we're talking about the transition zone. The transition zones are the 3 areas that you see on the map that are outlined in red. You see one that is west of Shine Street, south towards on the southwest of Nolan Creek, which extends on down to Avenue C, and then east of Main, which extends down to the highway. This zone provides a mix of housing near parks, central downtown, busy corridors, provides opportunities for residential activities primarily, but also retail, office, services. It's intended to be a transition between neighborhoods and more intense central downtown and uptown zones. It is a zone that is intended to be primarily residential in nature, as I mentioned, but also allows for some of the non-residential uses. The code book says that this zone provides, and I'll quote it out of the book, it says flexibility, key flexibility in the development opportunities, but primarily focuses on enabling residential housing choices. It promotes a variety of housing choices that focus on engaging the street with a scale of development that transitions, that's where the term comes from, in terms of height and mass of building between neighborhood and downtown. That's where the name comes from. It makes that transitioning effort possible. I do want to touch basically on, very briefly on compatibility standards because there's some conversations at the P&Z about this. And the standards do, as I mentioned, allow residential, non-residential, and there are requirements in the code that talk about compatibility standards between residential and non-residential in terms of the landscaping requirements between existing and new, as you can see on the top left, and then some distance and setback requirements for new development that you can see on the lower. And these exhibits come out of the standards. And I just wanted to show that because the standards do anticipate the kind of mixed use development and how they handle it and how they intended to, as we call it, articulate with each other, how they relate to each other. The next slide talks about the land use matrix. And as you can see, the red line outlines the uses in the transition zone. You see the residential on the top and then the commercial down towards the bottom. You can see more specific use permits and conditional uses in the non-residential. You'll see conditional uses in the residential area only because it doesn't have any special conditions related to single development, but it does refer to the density standards, setback height requirements, and things like that in the neighborhood zone. So when you see the residential development, it refers us to the neighborhood zone. Just a quick word about grandfathering, because these are very important components of the plan. As you know, existing uses are protected because of grandfathering, because the zoning changes. There may be some non-conformities in the area. We don't think there are many at P&Z. There were some concerns about, well, if my property is non-conforming as a residential structure, that could be problematic. There really aren't any areas like that. There is currently an area that is zone multifamily with single-family development in it. And with the rezoning to the transition zone, all those areas will become conforming. So that would be a fix in that area, so to speak. Let's see. All right. So we're moving on. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Waiting for grandfather.
Okay, good. All right. Our recommendation, the Planning and Zoning Commission held their public hearing and made their recommendation on the 16th last week and sent forward a favorable recommendation. We support that recommendation, and I'll step back and you can call the public hearing. We can answer questions later.
All right, this is the time you guys get to say something. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or in opposition to this zoning change, this area to a transition zone, and now's the time to do it. I don't have anybody who's signed up for it, but that doesn't mean you can't speak. If anyone wishes to speak in favor or in opposition, just give us your name and your address for the record, if you don't mind. And 3 minutes.
All right. I'm happy to check. I live on 100 North Davis. There's Getty Folk Park. I believe our property is grandfathered in from back in the,
yes,
so the floods or whatever happened. And that's what my concern was, that I was grandfathered in, so how would that work?
You get to continue to use your property as you normally get to use it.
Yeah, it's just.
And if someone else were to, if you were to sell it or someone else were to take ownership, they could continue to use it as you were using it until they wish to change uses.
Okay, that's my question I had. I just curious.
Yep. Yes, sir.
About that, but appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
But also,
To be clear, the ownership can change, the use cannot change.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
but isn't there something in that as well, as if over X% damage was done, then it affects them, how they have to reconstruct it, they have to meet current standards or something like that?
If the structure is damaged by like 60% or more, or something like that, if it's a conforming use, they can build. If it's a house within the transition zone, which allows for single family uses, that kind of thing can be rebuilt. If it's a non-conforming use, if it's damaged to that extent, then they would have to come into compliance with the zoning code. Or
But theirs is a
obtain-
conforming.
or get a variance or something, or a rezoning or something.
Bob, we recently had some townhomes come through with a front door.
When is public hearing? Oh, yeah.
Well,
So-
Finish that. Let's finish that.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. All right, any other, yes, name and address for the record.
Diaz, I live at 417 South Wall Street. We are in walking distance to Liberty Park and walking distance to downtown Belton. I just want to know, how is this going to impact our area, Wall Street? I mean, we're very close to downtown, very close to Liberty Park. I know you said that we are grandfathered in, but is it going to impact us in a different way? I mean, for instance, are you going to build apartments next to our house, or what's going to happen?
We probably got off on the wrong foot. This is a public hearing where you get to talk to us, and then when we start to deliberate, we will hopefully address those questions so it's, yeah, you'll have to wait for us to, because this is a your turn and then it's our turn. So
Ask all your questions now and.
Yeah, ask the questions. We'll take notes.
Yeah.
Yep. Ask. Yeah.
Okay, so that was my question. I mean.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry for the confusion in public meetings, but this is, yeah.
It's the rules.
It's the rules. Anyone else wish to speak in opposition or in favor of this zoning?
Cynthia Hernandez. I'm with Belton Economic Development Corporation, and we're located at 412 East Central Avenue. And I would like to speak in favor of this item. As you know, BEDC led the initiative in partnership with the city of Belton. And we're in favor of the rezoning for various reasons. One, it's consistent with the plan, and two, it enhances the opportunities in Belton. But it's simply a tool. And so the intent of the Imagine Belton plan and the rezoning is not to come in and bulldoze neighborhoods at one time. It simply provides opportunity for alternative uses as the market will support that. And so it's not, if there's an opportunity today, I think a private investor would do that. But truly, it just prepares Belton for the future as new investment starts to occur in Belton.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Anyone else in favor or against this item? All right. There being no other speaking, we will close the public hearing. We will reconvene with council to deliberate. We'll probably have some questions in addition to the ones that were asked from the floor. Any comments, Those are emotions.
And John had a question.
You want to go first, John? Sure.
We recently had a townhome that, had maybe what were called setback issues or whatnot, but front door to nowhere and. Have we
Oh, yeah.
corrected that or figured out a way to make sure that we don't have to debate that?
We have, yeah. We've come to an agreement with the developer and we think we're going to bring a good product forward, yeah. We'll see a plat on that, as a matter of fact.
That's the one on Second Street.
So,
That's the one on Second Street you're talking about, right? Yeah.
so for example, let's say I had a home that had 8 bedrooms and I live in the transition zone and it says you can have multifamily. You got planned developments, I could do whatever. So let's say I wanted to convert that to like rent out, or going from single family to renting it out. And let's say it conforms to all this. What's the process of changing from one use to the other use if they're both allowed by right? So if I wish, is there?
There would be very little to do.
Okay.
There'd be very little to do.
So come to the city, work with you guys and say, we're just going to change.
Yeah,
the
maybe
use.
there's a parking thing or something like that.
And have to go through a public hearing. It
Correct.
wouldn't be a notice to the neighbors.
That would be,
So
be by right.
Yeah.
Be by right.
They would just get to tell you that you have to add all the fire suppression and
Building code
20
requirement.
minute
Yeah.
walls and.
yeah. So for those that have asked questions, I think what the answers are is if you've got a single family residence and you want to continue to have the single family residence for you and anyone after you, it would continue to be a single family residence.
Correct.
For those of you on South Wall Street, if you have neighbors that have single family residences and you see something that's like Joe's Tax Service on the front door, that might happen because they can the neighbors could then go and change their use. But as far as any active development, there's no active city development to transition this to anything else and to allow for those areas that are walking distance to downtown to be a mixed use.
That's correct.
Yeah, because it's already a mixed use,
Right.
right? That general area. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to answer y'all's questions by
And
Very
asking.
good, very good.
And to the point on the south wall, like specifically, because I know that street very well. Most of these lots are not big enough for somebody to come in and put like a big apartment complex or quadplex, or because a lot of your setback limits still apply. Your impervious coverages rules still apply. Your landscaping rules still apply. So you still have all those things. It just makes it easier. So like, let's say somebody wanted to come in and buy your entire street. If you and your neighbors all agreed to it, then sure, they would probably do something bigger. But that's all you and all your neighbors selling. And so that's the comment I gave to another resident that I reached out. But to the single family point, can you tell me exactly what the permitted with conditions means? Because if you look at this zone, probably 98% of it is single family.
Right.
And we're basically saying it's really not allowed. It is allowed, but with conditions. So what's to stop like somebody from building another single family home? Does it make it harder, or
No,
what does
no.
the with conditions mean?
So it's a two-part answer. The PC means basically that when you want to find the criteria for building a new home in the transition, you have to look in the neighborhood zone because that's where all the density standards are. That's what I meant when I said you have to flip to another page to see it. That's all it means. That's all it
So
means.
there
It
are
doesn't say,
zones within the transition zone.
sir.
There are neighborhood zones within the transition zone.
No, the criteria for building a new home, for the setbacks, the height limits and all those kind of things, you'll find them in the neighborhood. You'll find them in the criteria for the neighborhood.
Got it.
So
In the standards.
the permitted with conditions does not mean SUV.
Correct.
I
Right.
think
There's
that
no
was-
special conditions.
Yeah, I
other
called
than
Bob
that.
earlier on that one, and that was a clarifying point for me. Because it wouldn't make any sense to make somebody come to us and ask if they could build a single family
Yeah.
house
No.
here.
Just a matter of how you read the document. That's all.
Does this in any way change the short-term rental policies?
No, it does not. It's a
And
separate ordinance.
as far as compatibility goes, if somebody wants to come build a hotel next to 417 South Wall Street or an apartment complex or whatever,
Stay on shine.
we take a look at that to see, is the use harmonious with the neighboring properties? And would that be staff's job to look at that, or would that be
Are you saying a hotel or an apartment complex?
well, let's pick something off this list, the apartment complex.
Oh, if it's by right, then it would just be a staff level approval.
So
And so-
staff's looking to see if it's
Yeah.
harmonious with the neighborhood.
Exactly, exactly. And the standards that we lead, just like the compatibility standards we're looking at right there, we'd implement those things. We'd look at all the other criteria that are in the standards, make it all work.
And if staff was on the fence, is that something you could bring to council for consideration if you're on the fence about the compatibility? You go through.
I guess we could, but we would work it out. If there was something that was like out of the parameters, we would say, well, maybe you need to get a PD on this deal. And then we'd bring it to council.
I think the good news, bad news about streamlining the process is it streamlines it to left or right, depending on which way. And if, and I think we rely on responsible council members to help policy and responsible city staff to appropriate development. I think there are several mechanisms to train council and staff. One thing, and so I think that's, there's parts of me that I really, really like the Imagine Belton standards. I really love the clarity. I like the be able to use by right. So we can kind of streamline the development, and developers are more liable to come in and buy, as we've seen it. One example tonight on 6th is the developer may or may not buy depending on what the action is. So it makes it a very long acquisition process. This really streamlines the acquisition process. They know they can do it. They can go do it.
Yeah.
The challenge is when you get into residential, there's a little more angst about that. And so as we get into this transition zone, this is probably the most challenging, because when it's downtown or uptown, pretty easy. Neighborhoods is a little more challenging. And so I think that's some of the,
I think adding on to that, I think that our city staff does a better job now than it ever has of looking for ways to say yes to development. Which I think is good. I think it's so important to note, you said at the very beginning of this, that the transition zone is still primarily residential.
That's correct.
And I think we've just got to be very cautious about potential negative impacts to existing single family homes. I think the whole point of this is looking to see what is this area going to look like 30 years from now. And by that standard, I think this is great. I just want to make sure that we don't look too eagerly to say yes to development that might hurt existing residents.
Yep.
And that's honestly just something we have to leave in your hands. If we approve this, and I'm okay with that.
and in reality, that stuff kind of happens now. I mean, even through planning and zoning, I know there's several developments that have happened. I think one on Avenue D where they've come, I think 2 or 3 times and started to do foundation and parking and all that stuff, and then just put the project in the middle of it. And so now you went from a really pretty lot to like under construction and never going to finish. So that stuff can happen both, so. All right, any other discussion? I would entertain a motion.
I would like to just give one more shout out to Cynthia. She's been working hard on this for I don't know how many years. Oh, what was it, 5, 6, 7 years? Yeah. And so thank you for all your work on this and getting it going. So.
Agreed. Move we approve agenda item 16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve agenda item 16. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. Item 17, consider the purchase of a used Freightliner 3,000 gallon water truck from the Gerald Fire Department, Williamson County Emergency Services District, number 5. I wore a hat. Just for cheap. Because he came a used vehicle that is 1/3 the price, I think. of
Already
the
outfitted.
original proposal. So I'm wearing my hat.
I'm gonna make this short and sweet for you guys.
Amen.
It's been a long night, right? All right, as you know, just a really quick read, we're looking at a block truck. What we consider our best option is a water truck due to the size limitations. That blocker truck will be a dual purpose. It'll have a highway incident blocker and also a mobile water supply, which we desperately need. We do have a high volume of accidents on the roadway. The truck we were looking at is actually 3,000 gallons, so it's a little bit bigger. But the first proposed was. So we were asked by council to go back and do some options. So we looked at several options. Option one was to evaluate a new average cost there was about 175. We evaluated a used truck, and what I did is I put together a kind of, this is all the costs that would go into kind of refurbishing a new truck. And the refurbished cost was 115 to 190, just to refurbish. It was actually more expensive to refurbish than buy a new. I found very few people that were willing to do that project. And the ones that did give me prices, it was outrageous. Another option that we looked at was to buy a used chassis and cab and build a water truck on the back of it. And so we looked at two different builds. One would be kind of a all encompassing, all the emergency lights, the color, the striping, everything. And that was about 98,000 just for the rear end, plus the cost of the chassis. If we went with just a water truck without any lights, without anything on it, it's about 46,000. Plus you're looking at 30,000 for upfitting, 3,000 to 4,000 to cut to the right and move the rear axle. So we estimated a cost somewhere between 95 and 147 for that option. And then we were notified by Gerald Fire Department that they were looking to sell their truck. So after Wes and I went and took a look at it, and then we took a mechanic down from our shop, our EVT, the newest EVT, Jimmy, I believe his name is, lots of years in Temple. We went down there, we looked at the truck. It's a 2005, but it was refurbished completely with new pumps, new plumbing, new PTO. It's got low mileage, about 58,000 miles on it. It looks like a new truck. It really does. It's very impressive. It does have emergency lights. It has sirens. It's not quite as striped as we would like it on the highway. So we'll do about 20,000, if approved, about 20,000 of being in lighting, just to be as safe as we can get our firefighters up on the highway. So with that, we ask that you recommend, or we recommend asking that you allow the purchase of that Freightliner gallon water truck from Gerald with extra 20,000 for striping and equipment.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
This not being a public hearing, we will go straight to council comments, questions, or motions.
And this is 1,000 more gallons than what we were looking at before.
It is. It's a little longer. So this one is 30 foot, and we have about 34 foot in that bay. So it gives us a little room up front and back, so it does fit. Yeah.
I think it's great. I appreciate you doing a little more work after our last discussion.
I wish I could have brought it forward sooner, but we did take our time and really try to do it right this time.
Can't wait for it to get hit.
No,
This is what it's designed for.
Right.
Protect our firefighters, our fire truck, it's gonna happen.
It's better this $100,000 get hit than a firefighter or $1 million truck.
And whatever you need to light it up,
Yeah.
Wait, $1 million truck?
Do you make any clarifying statements for the telegram? Just thinking you're gonna be reading about that.
We were at $200,000.
What?
Brand new one.
Yeah, brand new Derby car. So I'm very pleased that we cut that cost, and I'll make an improvement.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve this item for the blocker truck. Any other comments?
Good job.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you,
to the
guys.
Audience for being here this evening. The next two items are executive session. We will not be reconvening to discuss or make a motion on any item, so no action will be taken. I will read the executive session into the record if anyone wishes to take a break as I read this into the record. Take a pause for the cause. I'll read it in. Item 18 is executive session pursuant to the provision of the Open Meetings Law, Chapter 551, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Code, annotated in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551071, consultation with attorney. And item 19 is executive session pursuant to the provision of the Open Meetings Law, Chapter 551, Government Code, Vernon's Texas Code, annotated in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. Yeah.